All right, what's going on, guys? Today, I want to talk about my very first failed dead bedroom Oofy Doofy relationship. I don't know if I can exactly call this a relationship. We were never intimate or anything like that. We both just weren't attracted to each other. And this goes back, last summer, where pretty much I had just started to live in my car, and I had a friend that I would hang out with, every now and then, who just loved to go clubbing. Like, me and him would go clubbing all the time, which was like the most brutal experience as it was already. I still have yet to talk about that whole experience, but it's very funny because my old high school friend, he does male modeling, and he was telling me how he gets rejected from agencies because he's too short, which he's 5'9.5", which isn't even bad. He's got the Rich Cooper frauded beard, because his jaw's not the best, so he just kind of frauds it with a beard and just shapes the jaw, the hair, to make it a square jaw. He's jacked, all that. He just has he has pretty good beard growing genetics. I mean, for me, I have this whole Santa beard going on right now. It kind of looks like pubes just taped to my fucking face or something, but I would go clubbing with this guy, and I'm not even joking. He would get so many numbers every time that we would go clubbing. He would get fucking, I remember one time we would go to Coney Island a lot too. It was during the summertime, and he would just be on the beach, and he would just get so many numbers and all this shit. And I just, I didn't really care, I mean, at that point, I just had I just didn't give a shit. He kept saying oh, bro, I gotta get you laid, bro. And I'm like, dude, I just don't even, I don't care anymore, man. If anything, I don't give a shit. I know it sounds corny, it's not even an option, but, I don't care about, hookup culture and shit like that. I'd rather just have, a loving, it sounds corny, but, have, a loving wife that, respects you and won't cheat on you. I'd rather have that, times 10, at this point in my life. But every day he'd be like, oh, bro, let's go clubbing. And at this time, I was working DoorDash and I was doing Domino's too. So I had that basically as work. And sometimes I would stay over his house. Sometimes I wouldn't. It all depended. Cause it was just a pain in the ass. Everything was just kind of new to me. Cause I had literally just started fucking living in my car. And there's this one day where we went to this bar. It was it was a rock and roll type of bar, and they had this outdoor, they had a bunch of benches outdoors, and basically he meets this girl who, she's about probably his height, honestly, and she had a friend who had red hair like me. She was overweight, and at this time, I wasn't really that big. I was maybe 180. This is probably late August. And, my friend just kept saying oh, it'd be so funny, bro, if you got together, bro. And her friend, let me just call, the redheaded girl, I'll just call her Fiona, just because it reminds me of the Shrek shit, But, we were sitting on these benches, not there's no table in the middle. We were sitting backwards. And, this girl that my friend's trying to hook up with is in front of me. My friend's diagonally to me. And then Fiona's to my right, and we don't really talk about much. They just keep saying it would be so funny. And her friend, it'd be so cute if you got together. You both have red hair. And at this fucking point, I had just started shaving my head, and I regretted it so fucking bad at that point. I was like, fuck, I should have just kept it the way it was. You know what I mean? And just kind of tried to make it longer to cover my shit hairline. But yeah, I started giving myself buzz cuts, and I was like, fuck, I just regretted it really bad. I mean, I still do give myself buzz cuts now, because I just don't give a shit, I got a lot of problems to deal with, but yeah, me and Fiona were sitting next to each other. My friend and this girl are sitting in front of us. And all of a sudden, they're just talking and talking, and they start making out. It was the most awkward shit, because me and Fiona are just watching them make out, and I said some stupid joke. I was like, oh, look, there's a plane in the sky. Oh, and they started laughing. It was fucking cringe, I'm just watching them make out and trying to fucking not make it as awkward. And I was like, what the fuck, and I eventually, get Fiona's number. She gives me, her number and shit, and my friend ends up like hooking up with this girl. I end up just kind of like talking and texting Fiona like every now and then. The phone call conversations weren't bad. She was like legitimately, like, I'm not even kidding, probably the female version of me. Like, she just, except more like, I don't know, like nerdy. Like, she would watch anime, she would play fucking video games. It's like all she was like a Nintendo fan. I don't give a fuck about Nintendo, but she would like we would talk about that shit. It was always like okay over the phone, but in person it was so awkward, and it's like, I missed out on like my formal years for like experiences like this, to the point where like now, like as a consequence, I'm just like fucking completely clueless. Like, I don't even know what the fuck to do in a relationship. And not to mention the fact, like we both weren't attracted to each other. Like, we barely like did anything, I didn't kiss her at all. Like, I would kind of like put my arm around her, and it was just like always like awkward. Like, you could feel the fucking tension. And like, I think the funny thing is, I know you guys probably like experienced this in your life, getting friend zoned where, you're attracted to whoever it is, and, you guys like get along together, but you're just not attracted to each other. So like, there's no relationship, like it just doesn't work. And then there's like the opposite where like, like let's say you're both like, you both have sexual chemistry, except like you can't get along for shit. Like, you don't connect at all. Like, you have no common interests or hobbies. Those were like the two extremes, the friend zone and then like the over sexualized shit. But like for us, it just was like, it was always awkward when I talked to her, and like I kind of had to like bring her around like my friend all the time just to like talk. So like he would be like a third wheel, and then like he would have Fiona's friend with him, and we would just go out to bars and stuff. Like, nothing really too bad, but like, I want to say this shit. I find it funny because, I showed my dad a picture of this chick. I was still in contact with my dad a little bit. And keep in mind, these are the people my whole life that have scolded me for being single, were just like, oh, you need to get a girlfriend, get a fucking girlfriend. So I send, because my dad was just begging me. He's like, I gotta see what this broad looks like. That's just like how he talks. And I fucking send him a picture. And he goes, oh my God. Like, he just calls me instantly. He goes, oh my God, kid, you couldn't get me drunk enough to fuck that. Oh my God, that's not even the last girl at the bar kind of hookup. Oh my God, what are you doing? Oh my God. And, I was still like sort of in contact with my mom too at this point. Cause like apparently my dad told her about like this chick, and, my mom just said, ew. She just texted me, ew. And that shit hurt really bad because like, the thing is, I mean, I was a complete Oofy Doofy Betabuxx in that relationship. Like, I would stay over her house like a lot for like 2 weeks. I would stay over her house because I had nowhere to go. I had nothing to, I was sleeping in my car. It was hot as fuck. And I kind of like used it as like sort of a place for me to like stay and shit like that. But I think like the funny thing is like she would always complain about her weight, and this is the thing. I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care. Like that shit doesn't really bother me. Like I know like there's like guys that are like, oh, I wouldn't date a chick if she's overweight, but that never bothered me. In fact, I'd probably like prefer that. I don't know. It just doesn't really, it's not something that mattered, but she would always complain about it and like snap like every 2 seconds over it. And she was on disability. I don't know for what. I really don't. She would take a lot of medications. She smoked a lot of weed. A lot of people I knew in New York City were on some sort of like SSDI or whatever the fuck, like some sort of disability. Like, I had one friend who got it at 18 for depression. I don't know how the fuck you could like convince the government to do that. I literally have no idea. But I guess because he had been going to like a psychiatrist ever since he was 12 or something like that. So that's how he was able to get it. He doesn't have to work a day in his life and shit like that. But, for her, yeah, she was on disability. She didn't make like a lot of money at all. It was just like $500 a month. And keep in mind too, she was 28, about to turn 29. And, of course, red hair, overweight. And I find it funny too, because, now I'm like, I put on a lot of weight over the past year, just from like being defeated, needing dopamine from eating like garbage ass foods and drinking beers and shit like that. But, for her, I mean, there was this one day where, you know, she was like doing push-ups. It was like late at night. And keep in mind too, like her mother, she lived with her mom, of course. And it was like this really small, like shithole apartment. Like it was really, really tiny. And her mom did like some sort of, she was working at like a shoe store part-time. And every time I would be at that, you know, a shitty apartment, her mom would always be there, you know. And she had like like her mom's boyfriend, not really like a stepdad, but like a step boyfriend, I guess you could call it. Like, yeah, her mom was just dating this guy who just was like, same shit. You know, I heard him talking shit about me too. Like, you know, I was in the bathroom one day and I heard him saying like, oh, you could do better. Because I had like the fan, like, you know, like in the bathroom where they have that loud ass fan. I had that on and I was just like trying to listen. And yeah, the guy was like, oh, you know, you could do better than this guy. Oh my God. You know, he's just so awkward and, you know, all that shit. And it just, you know, brings on the shit where even if you do succeed and get into a relationship, your family's gonna fucking, like their family or your family, you know, if you don't make it up to par in the looks department, they're gonna fucking clown on you regardless. Because I just find it sad how, like, you know, in my family, there's this one guy, you know, he's 5'3", vegan, he has a nice paying job, and every fucking family gathering, every time this guy goes, like, before he comes or goes up to go to the bathroom or talk to somebody, everyone at the fucking table or whatever, they're just like, oh my God, she could do so much better, what a fucking loser, you know. And it's like, even if I get into like a real relationship, I'm still gonna get disrespected by their fucking family. And this is what like people don't really understand, because like they just think, oh, you know, it's not over for you because, oh, well, I'm not a good, you know, I'm not a good looking guy and I got a girlfriend. But like, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes, like what their fucking parents are saying. Like there's so many movies like this too, like these Oofy Doofy movies where you'll have like this mediocre, like very average guy, and you know, the parent's daughter, like the guy's just spending the whole movie trying to prove himself and fucking jester himself, when if he was just like a few inches taller, better job, better, you know, good looking, no one would give a fuck or question it. They'd be like, wow, oh my God. But instead, you know, you have to like constantly prove yourself and like, you know, have her dad just look at you like you're this fucking piece of shit all the time, you know. And that's kind of like what I went through. Like, what I was about to say was, you know, she was insecure about her weight and she didn't know how to lose weight at all. And there's this one night where she was, like doing push-ups under like this like, one of her drawers in her room, and I was playing on her fucking PlayStation, and her fucking dad or like her mom's, boyfriend just comes barging in because she was like making a lot of noise. He's like, what's going on in here? Are you fucking her? And I was like drinking a little bit. I'm like, no, dude, calm down. Like, what the fuck, you know? She's like, and the thing is too, yeah, she's like fucking 29. She didn't have her license. She didn't work. She had no career aspects, no like interest in fucking anything at all besides video games and anime. Like a legitimate version of like sort of me a little bit, you know, just not giving a fuck, just smoking pot all fucking day long. And yeah, this guy just fucking barges in, and I'm like, just, dude, like, it's just cringe, you know? And, you know, what I was gonna say, so yeah, her birthday comes along, whatever, and she, all of a sudden, like, she went into, like, this fucking episode where she just kept saying to me, she was like, I want kids, let's get married soon, let's have kids, like, really fucking fast speech, you know? And I'm like, whoa, you know, like I'm like, what the fuck? Calm down. Like, I don't even know you like that. You know, I've never even like kissed you. We haven't even hooked up. Like, what the fuck? And she just kept saying it over and over again. Like, oh, we need to have kids. I'm going to be 30. Just like driving me fucking insane. You know what I mean? And I remember one night, cause she had these pill bottles. She would take like, all these medications, and I never knew what they were until like one night I got drunk and I did some investigating, and like one of them was a bipolar med. There's Xanax, I think there's Adderall too, and then there's like some other shit like Alexapro, and then on top of that she would smoke weed all day, you know, all the time. And yeah, you know, it she would always, I don't know, she would always like make me go get food for her all the time because she didn't have her license, she didn't drive, you know, so I would have to Betabuxx, like, okay, I'll go get your food, you know, hop in my soy mobile and just fucking go to wherever the fuck and get some food, you know, and then she would just be sitting there just like on the TV, just like watching shit and just eating food, you know, and she would just complain about her weight simultaneously. It's like, so it was like sort of hypocritical, you know, because she would be like, she tried to go on a diet, and the funny fucking part about it was, you know, there were these sausage pucks from like, you get them from like Whole Foods, and they were like 250, like something insane, 250 calories for like this really tiny fucking puck of like a sausage. And she would eat like 5 to 6 of those and multiply that by fucking 250. That's, dude, like, no, it's like no wonder. And she would get mad because she would say like, I'm not eating that much. Why am I still gaining weight? Why am I not losing weight? It doesn't happen overnight. Like, it really doesn't. And I remember one morning, she flipped the fuck out because I had bought her, what was it? Those from Burger King, those sausage, egg, and whatever croissants with like hash browns and like a bunch of other shit. It was like, fuck, it would come to like $23 just for all that crap, you know? And she had a dog, and her dog, like, I left the door open in her room, and she was like, she was in the bathroom or something. She was always in the fucking bathroom all the time, which I'll get into later, which is because her hygiene was like really bad, but she would spend like fucking, I swear to God, like 5 hours at a time in the fucking shower. And I think she was just hotboxing it, you know, because she would bring like a bong in, and I guess she would just smoke. I have no idea, for fucking hours, just sitting in the water. And yeah, so I fucking buy her the croissants, all that. Her dog comes in, eats the whole shit, and she flipped the fuck. That was like the first sort of like red flag, as it was, you know. She flipped the fuck out and started wailing on her dog. Like, I'm telling you, like, hard fucking punches. Like, and I'm like, you know, what the fuck are you doing? Because like, she was Mike Tysoning this dog. And it's yelping, it's like trying to fucking, you know, cower. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what the fuck? And she was like, he ate my food. He ate my fucking food. You know, that I paid for, that I bought. And I said, it's not like you fucking need it. You know, like, you have enough food for like the next 4 years in your system. And she fucking slapped me so hard across the fucking face. And that right there, I was like, okay, like, this is not gonna fucking work. And it just kind of spiraled from there. Like, a few days later, we went to the mall, which I can't stand the mall. The mall sucks. You know, the mall is the worst place. You go there to buy overpriced crap. You know, she would get mad if I didn't buy her something. She'd be like, I want it. Come on, can I buy this? It would always be something so stupid, you know, that like some, you know, kid from China made in a fucking sweatshop for like 2 cents, you know, that's now like $80, you know. And, you know, and this is the thing too, like, I walk pretty fast, you know, and I don't even like, I never caught myself doing this, but like, I would walk ahead of her and she would get so mad, she'd be like, wait up. And it's just like an unconscious thing, because like, I don't really walk with people, you know, it was like an unconscious thing that I sort of do. I just walk fast, you know, and she just kept saying like, come on, you know, I can't keep up. And I'd be like, sorry, my bad. It's just, I can't help it. And as we got to the car, she says the same shit, and she was like, what if I get kidnapped? And I made a joke, and oh my God, this was so bad. So I made a joke, and I was like, it would take at least 5 people to pick you up to throw you in the van to get kidnapped. I think you're good. And she just stopped walking, and like, as I'm getting in the car, like, she just starts screaming. She's like, you know how insecure I am about my weight. That's not funny. I was like, it's just a joke. You know, I'm sorry, you know, just apologizing. Like, I'm sorry, it was just a joke. And she's like, no, I'm not getting in the fucking car. Just screaming her ass off, just making a whole huge scene. You know, everyone's staring at me. I'm like, oh my God, dude. It was so bad. And you know, I waited there for an hour to, like, you know, just texting her and calling her. I'm like, where'd you go? Like, get in the car. Let's go home. You know, I'm fucking tired. And she was like, no, I'll find my own way home. So her fucking mom's boyfriend had to, you know, drop her off at the house. And, you know, they're all pissed at me and all that shit. I got the silent treatment. And this is the thing too, like, I never slept in the same bed as she did. I slept in like a spare room, and she was just so fucking mad. She wouldn't let me in her room to play fucking video games. So I just ended up just sitting on the couch like a cuck. And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? This is like, I'm not happy at all. Like, I was so miserable. I'm like, if this is what a relationship is like for me for the rest of my life, because it felt like I was fucking married. I mean, let's be real. No sex, zero attraction. It's like, because I mean, attraction obviously is going to fade, like, but most couples have a honeymoon phase where they're like, everything's good. They're, they love each other. And then over time, sometimes it declines. And then that's when you get into like the late marriage stage where, yeah, you're not having sex. You're just all miserable and all this shit. And then divorce happens. But it felt like I was married from the start, and I'm like, wow, it's like, yeah, if this is what a relationship is like for me, I don't want any fucking part of it. I don't want any part of it. And, the final ending, straw of this, of this whole thing was, and I don't know, my friend told me, he's like, you should probably take this to the grave. And I'm like, I don't really give a shit, bro, because I think it's fucking hilarious. So one day, same type of shit. It would be like the same every day. I would just sit and play her PlayStation, then go to work at night, then come home. And then, to her apartment, and then, just go to sleep. It was like the same shit, and I was just miserable. And, one day, it was like on the weekend, and she was taking, one of her 5-hour showers, and she just comes out, fully naked, and just lays like on her stomach, like right next to me on the bed. And I was like, what the fuck? So, because I immediately noticed something, my nostrils were, I smelled shit. I'm like, what the fuck is that? So, and I shouldn't have investigated, but I investigated. So I looked, I turned to my right and looked down, and I can't even, it's something out of a horror movie. I can't even describe this shit. I saw the legit poo crack, and I got an even bigger whiff, and something from the depths of hell stench, like something like carcass, rotting vegetables, poop, fucking farts, rotting meat. I can't even describe how bad this fucking smelled. And on top of that, the poo crack. I guess when you're that big, you can't wipe properly. I don't know. So I swear to God, my mind like went blank for a good like 2 minutes. I'm just staring there like the fucking military guy, like the 1,000-yard stare. And I was like, this can't be real. Like, this can't be real. This is not real. Like, how are you going to take a shower, right, for 5 hours and have the poo crack? It was the most putrid, oh my God, man. And I immediately, called up my friend, the one that I go, used to go clubbing with. And I was like, dude, we need to talk real quick. And, I get in his car, and he has like some normie in the back seat that like he met at like somewhere, I don't know, some bar or whatever. Cause it was like later at night. And I was telling him about the poo crack. And he's like, bro, like, what? He's like, what you doing, bro? He's like, come on, bro. Like, I thought you were just going to hook up. I just wanted you to get the W, bro. Why are you staying there with her, bro? I was just trying to get you laid. And I was like, honestly, I don't even think I can at this point. I don't even think it's worth it. And I don't want to. Like, I'm actually traumatized by the poo crack. And he's like, yeah, he's like, bro, I've been with so many girls. None of them have ever smelled down there, bro. Like, I don't know, like, what the fuck is wrong with her, but like, that's not normal, dude. And I turn around, of course, the fucking guy in the back seat is recording me. And I tried to grab his phone, and he's like, nah, bro, I'm posting this shit. Like, he was like laying, like I was trying to grab his phone. He was just like laying in the back. And he's like, nah, bro. He's like, I'm weak, bro. Bro said poo crack. And at that point, I had to like make a decision because, I'm sitting in this fucking disgusting, like dead bedroom, oofy doofy relationship where like this chick is on bipolar medication. She's always like flipping out every 2 seconds. She has nothing going for her. I'm not happy, but at least I have a roof over my fucking head because it's summertime. I'm sleeping in a car. So what are my options? either go back to fucking living in my car, you know, or I just stay in this miserable, like, relationship and maybe get laid a few months down the line, you know, or something. I don't know. But it was really that fucking bad. Like, I'm telling you, I just couldn't wrap my head around it. And, you know, that was the day where pretty much I just up and left. I left the state. I just was like, fuck this shit. I had it. You know, I changed my number, all of that shit. I wouldn't doubt if my old friend that I went clubbing with, I wouldn't doubt if he thinks I'm dead. Like, he's probably like, what the fuck happened to him? Because I texted him. I remember before I changed my number, I texted him. I said, bye. And I got in my car and just fucking kept driving, you know? That was, like, pretty much it. I can't stand New York City. You know, the thing about it is, like, I think you attract so many just, like, fucking weird people. Like, because there's weird people in, like, every city, man. Like, I would just assume, like, Vegas, California, all that shit. Like, there's probably a bunch of weirdos, you know, and freaks and shit down there. Because, like, disability does run rampant down there because, like, there's so many mentally ill people that just kind of, you know, go to these cities and they do drugs and, like, all that crap. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was just really fucking traumatizing that, you know, the poo crack. I couldn't even fucking believe it, you know. And before I left her house, too, you know, her apartment, I said some dumbass shit. I was like, oh, I'm going to go get some milk. Because, you know, it's like a meme. Like, oh, my dad left to go get milk and never came back. So I told her, I'm going to go get milk real quick. And she was like, okay. And she, like, thought it was weird. And I just left. Like, they probably, no one probably knows what happened to me in, you know, New York City. Like, all the people that I knew, all the friends I had, they're probably like, what the fuck happened to this guy? You know, like, what happened to him? But, yeah, I mean, that shit was just... It was just not even a good experience. It was just horrible, you know, like, I don't know. And at this point, like, I don't give a fuck. Like, my sex drive is just completely just shot to shit. Like, I don't know if it's from, like, alcohol abuse or whatever, but, like, I'm telling you, or just, like, weight gain over the past, like, year, it's just non-existent. And it's just not even something on my mind. Like, I got a lot of shit to deal with right now. You know, I've been trying to get an apartment and, that's not really going too well right now, and it's getting hotter and hotter. I have to deal with all these fucking problems, and I just have no one by my fucking back, you know? I don't have any support. It just fucking sucks, you know? Got no one to talk to, no one to vent, you know, to shit about, you know, all that, and it just sucks. But, yeah, that's pretty much it for now.